Hey people, welcome back to the studio. Grab a seat and get comfortable. I know some of you are thinking, really? Another one already? Well, yeah. This is sort of a special edition, though. I read a news story this morning that made me think of a few things that happened to me, actually. And I decided I'd go ahead and share those with you. Anyway, this news story was about a fake homeless person who was exposed as fraud. In the article, a news crew followed her around for like 2 weeks, and what they uncovered was appalling. At least in my opinion it was. This woman, I forgot what part of New York it was, but it was in New York City. She walked around with 2 canes and in an exaggerated, hunched over fashion. And if I'm not mistaken, the article said something about she was in her mid-20s, 25, 26, something like that. Anyway, her tale of woe was that she'd been in a car accident and suffered a severe spinal injury. And the decent people around town would actually give her money every single day. One gentleman who had a prosthetic leg because of a car accident would actually give her like $20 every day of the week. And when it was all said and done, she was making somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 every week. And the news crew following her around learned that every day, around the same time, she would get into a van and be driven to a house. Her house. She would then be seen exiting the van, wearing completely different clothes, walking perfectly normal, without canes, and most times she would be seen talking on her iPhone with her friends. She would sometimes get into her Navigator. That's right. She owned a white Lincoln Navigator. And then go pick up her friends and go shopping or go to expensive restaurants for dinner. Then in the morning, the same van would pick her up. She would walk out of her 4-bedroom house in nice clothes, get into the van, and be driven a couple towns over. Get out of the van wearing rags, bent over with her canes. People, this was her job. When the news crew confronted her about it, she never broke character. And maintaining her tale of woe, even though she was on camera in her non-work environment and they showed this to her, she still maintained it was not her. And it was clearly her. You know, I myself had encounters with 2 scammers like this. The first one was a woman here in Kansas City down on the plaza. I was working on the plaza and I would stop at the same intersection every day between 3:30 and 3:45 p.m. And I would see the same woman holding up the same sign that read homeless and hungry. And every day I would give her a few bucks to help out. This went on for almost 3 months. And then one day, I was up on top of a roof. It was a 20-story building. And I was taking pictures of the plaza because the view was actually fucking amazing. And then something happened that changed the very way I looked at people. As I was looking down at the intersection where she hung out at, I seen her pick up her bag that contained her worldly belongings. And she started walking down the sidewalk. It was somewhere around 7 p.m. And as she was walking down the sidewalk, she stopped next to a brand new Denali. which I really didn't pay a whole lot of attention to until I actually watched her open the passenger door and throw her backpack inside. Then she walked around and got into the driver's side and drove off. Honestly, if I hadn't been on top of a 22-story building, I probably would have jumped down and chased her and beat her ass. It was the day before payday, and I had just given her my last $20 to this bitch. Just a couple hours earlier. Yeah, she did. She had a luxury SUV parked just down the road. So the next day, when I stopped at the same intersection, something interesting took place. Because I'd given her money all the time, and probably in the last 3 months I'd given her around $400. She just walked right up to my car. I rolled down the window, and instead of the usual small talk, I went off telling her that she was a horrible person, and I pointed to the building that I was on top of. I told her I was on the roof the day before, and I had seen everything. And what happened next really floored me. She did not apologize. There was no sign of regret, nothing of the sort. This bitch just laughed at me and said, "Yeah, and you dumb fuckers are paying for that car." I was so pissed. I told her, I said, I don't ever want to see you around here again. And if I see you standing anywhere near this street, I will not hesitate to run you over with my car. 2 things happened after that. 1, I never saw her ass again. And 2, I haven't given a homeless person a dime since. My second encounter was about 5 years later. It was after I went back to truck driving. It was around 10 p.m. and I was stopped at a red light in Dallas. And I was majorly pissed off as it was. It had been a really bad day. And I really wanted to choke the life out of my lying dispatcher who gave me a bunch of bullshit info. I was running about a day ahead of schedule, so I called his ass and asked if I could deliver there early. And he said, "Oh yeah, the customer said they have on-site parking and will unload you in the morning." Which I was very happy about. And then I get to the customer and I find out that was all bullshit. They didn't have parking and they weren't going to take the load until 11 a.m. Monday morning like it was scheduled. So now I'm driving around Dallas 10 o'clock at night, trying to find a truck stop with a parking spot on a Saturday fucking night. So anyway, I'm at this light, and this dude in a wheelchair rolls up, saying he's a disabled vet, and trying to get enough money to buy a hot dog. If you've never been in the cab of a Kenworth T600, let me tell you something. You're up in the air quite a ways, and you can see pretty well. And I could see this dude was actually sitting on his other leg. So, not a damn thing wrong with him. So, anyway, I told him, I told him to roll his ass the fuck away from my rig. And I was not giving him any money for drugs. He looks up and he says, "Fuck drugs, man. That's loser shit. I'm an alcoholic. I'm trying to get me a 40 and a hot dog. I love them greasy son bitches, even though they make me shit like a goose on X-Lax." People, I'm not going to even lie. I laughed so goddamn hard, I had tears in my eyes. So, I actually handed him a $5 bill. And I told him, I said, normally I'd run your ass over because I've had a really rotten day. But this day has been so fucked up. And I really needed a good laugh, so thanks. That was worth $5. I said, you go get you a beer and a hot dog, some toilet paper. But you better get a better act, dude, because quite honestly, I can see your leg. He stands up and says, okay, you got me. Takes the 5 and says, hey, well, I'm shitting my guts out tomorrow. I'm going to remember you. I told him, please don't remember me while you're taking a shit. I just can't handle that. So the light turned green and I left. Yeah, I actually sat through it a couple of times, but as I said, it was worth the laugh. Alright, people. I know this has been a little bit long-winded and I apologize for that. But to wrap things up, I'm not saying not to help people who really need it. I'm just saying use caution. More than half these people that are supposedly so down on their luck are scammers and make more per week than some of you do. Alright, people, if you made it this far, thanks for sticking around. Until next time.